What's up, stud? Welcome back to Live with Franco, and in today's video we're going to be talking about Versace Eros, if it is still worth buying in 2024 or if the clubbing king has officially died. And so let's just get straight into it. Let me spray it on and then I'll tell you about the notes, tell you what it smells like, and if it is worth getting in 2024. So here we go. Alright, and so as far as notes, what you're going to be getting in the opening you're going to get mint, green apple, and lemon. In the mid, you're going to get tonka bean, ambroxan, and geranium. And in the base, we're going to get Madagascar vanilla, Virginian cedar, Atlas cedar, vetiver, and oak moss. So, alright, and so all in all, what all those notes add up to me is it comes across very like Sprite. And so whenever you think of Sprite, you're already 80 to 90% of the way there. Just add in that extra vanilla and then a little bit of florals. The florals do not come across at all as feminine. You probably won't even notice them, to be honest. And so this is a very happy, charismatic type of scent. It is a very sexy scent that you can use to attract women on a day-to-day basis. This to me is, although it is sweet, it's still an all-season kind of a fragrance. I believe you can easily pull this off during the summer. For as long as it's not super high heat and you do dial down the sprays. I'll say 3 sprays max, you should be good. And so this is Versace Eros has always been the type of fragrance that you could go to in order to attract women. And I would say that still holds true. It is very attractive. Again, because it is fresh and sweet, it has a charisma to it. It has a swagger to it. It is very lively, very effervescent. It's the type of fragrance that women do want to smell on men. But is it still worth getting in 2024? The answer to that is, in my opinion, no. Why? Because in the last few years, there have been much better fragrances to come out. And so if you do want a similar type of scent profile, and you're, let's say, 18 to 25 years old, the fragrance that I would recommend to you more would be YSL Eau de Parfum. They both share the apple note, but YSL Eau de Parfum, it just smells more luxurious. It smells higher quality, better put together, better blending, more smoother. And it's going to achieve this, but it's still going to be way sexier. And so I would recommend YSL Eau de Parfum for any guy that's under the age of 25. For any guy that's older than 25, I would recommend Y Le Parfum. And as far as the whole clubbing king, party king, a lot of people and I agree that this fragrance has basically been watered down. You do have the stronger concentrations such as the Eau de Parfum and the Parfum, but me personally, I'm just not a fan of it. I'm just gonna be honest. But if you do like that, then by all means go for it. But to me, there's just much better party fragrances. I would recommend Paco Rabanne 1 Million Parfum. I would recommend Jean Paul Gaultier's Ultra Mall, Jean Paul Gaultier's Le Male Elixir. You can take Azara The Most Wanted. There's just basically any modern day sweet fragrance that was made like in the last 5 years. I would much rather you go with that than this. This is too watered down. And the truth about Versace Eros is that it's very cheap and affordable, which is good for guys who are just starting out their collection. But what happens with cheap, affordable fragrances is that it's much more available to the public. And so many guys are wearing Versace Eros by now that although it is attractive, you're just not going to stand out. However, of course, you have an amazing personality. Then at that, like, a woman's always gonna like the guy for who he is, not necessarily the way he smells. All right, so just keep that in mind. But if the goal is to be unique and different, then in my opinion, Versace Eros is no longer that amazing clubbing king, that amazing sexy scent that it once was. And so when it comes to Versace Eros, what I do want to say is that this to me is what I would consider to be a stepping stone kind of a fragrance. What do I mean by that? So, for men who are just starting out with fragrances, collecting fragrances, let's say you just fell in love with fragrances and you say, you know what, I'm going to have at least 20 fragrances in my collection, but you don't know where to start, or you're just like, you know, like there's a woman in your life that you really like and you really want to attract her and you want to get fragrance. If you're just starting out, the fact of the matter is that you don't know what your preferences are. You don't know if you like spicy scents, you don't know if you like woody scents, if you like sweet scents. For me personally, like when I got into fragrances, I had no idea that I was going to fall in love with sweet fragrances because they do smell unisex and they do smell feminine, but I love sweet fragrances. And so For someone like that, you may know what you like, but the fact of the matter is that you probably don't know what you're really gonna like. And so, if right now you have this intention to go to attract a woman, then and you want something that is safe and reliable, that's trusted and proven to help men attract women, then I do think that Versace Eros would be a good fragrance to get for the meantime, so that the next 6 months you can explore different fragrances and find out what it is you like. Fragrances that are more expensive, more luxurious, more high end, or maybe right now you're on a budget and you want something that's cheap and affordable. Then you can also go with Versace Eros while you save more time, so you can buy those higher end fragrances. YSL, Eau de Parfum, and Why Le Parfum are more expensive. I do want to say that, but they are a better version of what Versace Eros is. And so when I think of Versace fragrances, I don't honestly think of high-end luxurious fragrances. I think of fragrances that help men get what it is they want, which is to attract women and do it in a way that is affordable and accessible. And so I do like the intention that Versace has, which is to help every man smell his best. But if you are this guy who you are thinking about taking fragrances serious and you want the best fragrances there are, then I do not recommend Versace Eros. But for men who are just starting out, you want something that's safe and reliable. Again, while you explore different fragrances, while you discover what your tastes and preferences are, then I do think that Versace Eros would be perfect for that. And so, an analogy that I can give you as far as Versace Eros is kind of a little adultish, but this is basically what I get. And so I want you to imagine that it is 12 o'clock midnight and you have your wife, you're sleeping with your wife, and you have your kids in the house. Even if you don't have kids, just imagine you have kids. And your wife wakes you up midnight, honey, 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 someone is breaking into the house. Like, you got to go and get rid of them. And so you have two options. You can use a 22 caliber, or you can use a very strong 8K. Now, yes, the 8K is going to be stronger, it's going to be better. For that, like, for sure, you're definitely going to get rid of the guy. But if you think about it, the 22 caliber is going to achieve the same outcome as a stronger 8K. And so when we are talking about fragrances, you don't need to have a $200 fragrance, a $300 fragrance to attract women. For as long as you're smelling fresh and clean and you do have a little bit of sweetness to the fragrance, it's going to attract women. Again, when it comes to fragrances, you don't attract women through fragrances. It's just a little cherry on top to make who you are even more attractive. You're going to attract women through your charisma, through obviously your personality, staying in shape, going to the gym, dressing well, treating her well, having a sense of humor, having a good lifestyle, social circle, stuff like that. So I don't want you to get too caught up in fragrances. If you're just starting out, don't have this pressure on yourself that you need a $200 fragrance. Again, you can get Versace Eros. I've seen it on discount websites such as Joma Shop, Fragrance Net, Fragrance Buy for like $50. I would not recommend you buy this retail. I would go either discounters or at least like Amazon. Amazon's a little sketchy, but just trust like discount websites. And so just keep in mind, like, what Versace Eros and what a lot of Versace fragrances do is that they do everything that a man needs in order to attract a woman. They press all the right buttons in a woman to attract her, but they do it at a very mid-level quality. It's not going to be the most exciting fragrance in the world. It's not going to be the most luxurious, the highest end, or the highest quality. It's not going to be that, but it is going to be a fresh, sweet fragrance that she's going to like. And so if that is your goal right now, and you don't want to risk a lot of money because you're new to this, you want to discover your preferences, then I would recommend Versace Eros for that. But other than that, if you have like 10 fragrances in your collection, I would not recommend Eros. If a guy came to me and said, I have already 10 fragrances, what should be my next fragrance? I would never recommend Eros. Like, I haven't seen anybody that has a large collection and Versace Eros is there. Then they're just like flaunting that, like, oh, I got Versace Eros. It's a very beginner level fragrance. This is why you see a lot of men wearing it. But long term, I would not recommend Versace Eros. Me personally, as you can see, I'm about like 3/4 of the way still left. I have not been using much of it, and I do not plan on repurchasing this fragrance. I did not know about YSL White Eau de Parfum before this, and so for me, like, I already know there's gonna be much better fragrances for me to wear on a day-to-day basis that I just don't see myself getting this in the future. But it served its purpose. It helped me smell good in a time when I was just starting out and I didn't know anything about fragrances. And so that is where I believe that Versace Eros is good for men. Like, it's gonna achieve everything that a higher end fragrance does, just lower in quality and more accessible. And it is gonna attract women. Just keep that in mind. It will attract women, right? But when you're collecting fragrances, this is gonna be something personal for you. What do you want to smell on yourself? Yes, you want to smell good for ladies, but what do you want to smell on yourself? What fragrances best represent your spirit, your vibe, your attitude, your charisma? That you're going to discover down the line, right? So for those, I know I said this a bunch of times, but for those who are just starting out, yeah, Versace Eros is cool, but if you've been doing this for some time now, you already got at least 10 fragrances in your collection, I would not recommend Eros in 2024. And in my opinion, I do think that Versace Eros, the DNA is dead. I do think that it's time for Versace Eros to upgrade their fragrances and release a new flank or something that's a little more modern. It would be cool to see Eros Elixir, but if they don't plan on upgrading the fragrance, then it just, to me, it smells like dead, like just old school. It smells like 2010. It doesn't smell like 2024. And it's just in the past, and I think it's time to leave it in the past. Yeah, in my opinion, it is dead. It's not worth getting if you are a serious collector at that point. But that's all I have to say for Versace Eros. Comment down below, let me know what you thought. Do you like Eros? Do you not like Eros? Do you find other fragrances to be better than Eros? Do you think that Eros is dead? Do you think it's still worth getting in 2024? Let me know down in the comment section, and I'll see you guys in the next video, all right? Take care and deuces. Peace.